G'day humans, Chris Stead here. Got a special treat for you guys. I'm down at this Suunto Peak Pro launch in Bondi Beach. I'm talking here with Damian Commane, who is the head of Suunto ANZ. Mate, thanks very much for joining me. Look, I just wanted to start off by asking you, what are consumers telling you about where they want to see sport watches go in 2023?
Hey, great question, Chris. It was fantastic to be on your show today. By far, the piece we get asked about the most is battery life. And so what we've done on the latest 19 Pro is that we've increased our battery life. So on tour mode, you can get up to 300 hours of GPS tracking, or 21 days in standard mode. And so we've definitely answered that with our latest situation with the Suunto watch.
Yeah, I was picked up straight away on the GPS, length of battery of the GPS. So I believe it's about 40 hours with the GPS, using GPS. Is that correct?
On the full performance mode, it's 40 hours, so an increase from 25 to 40.
Yeah.
But in tour mode, it's 300 hours of GPS tracking. Of course, in the standard mode, 21 days. So if you wanted to use the standard, you're literally charging your watch once in 3 weeks.
And is there any sort of cost to anything else in the watch itself to improve the battery like that? Like, for example, with the screen brightness or anything like that, that's had to, I guess, pay the cost to be able to get that extra battery?
No, actually, we've been able to actually increase our screen brightness on this one while also increasing the amount of hours of GPS tracking. We've basically enhanced the chip inside the watch itself. So we've doubled the performance of the chip from the previous 9 Peak into the 9 Peak Pro. So by doubling the performance, it's enabled us to increase the battery power while also increasing the brightness of the screen.
Yeah, look, I noticed when you look at it, the watch just straight on, there's not a massive obvious design difference between this and the predecessor.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say that that's the case and that most of the improvements here are kind of in the watch itself, in the hardware?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've received wonderful feedback about the aesthetic look and design of the 9 Peak. We actually got 4 stars globally feedback from users in terms of not just the performance of the watch, but also the aesthetic look and view. Because they felt that they could use this watch when they're out and about, doing all sorts of training, or they can also wear it out when they're going out at the night with friends. So I would keep the aesthetic exactly the same.
When I first picked it up, the thing I noticed straight away was just how light it is compared to a lot of the other watches, especially considering it's a fully featured sport watch.
Yeah.
How have you managed to do that?
Great question. On the high-end version of it, we use titanium grade 5. And of course, it's a very strong, very product you can really rely on in terms of strength, but also very, very light. So with that in mind, you're able to get that robustness that you look for in the watch, but also maintain a real lightness within the product itself. So the titanium version is 52 grams, or the stainless steel version is 62 grams, so just a slight increase.
Yeah, we spoke about this a little bit before we were having lunch about the type of audience, I guess, that Suunto is really going with this watch.
Yeah.
And about how that kind of defined the design as well. Can you talk a little bit about who you think is the audience you've got and what they may be looking for in terms of a more, I guess, relaxed and approachable design?
That's a fantastic question, Chris. And so one of the key things when you look at the actual size of the bezel of the watch itself is that what we've been seeing over the last few years is that people opting for the smaller size bezels. So with that feedback we've got from the market themselves, we decided that what we needed to focus on was the actual size of the bezel. We've gone from a standard 50.5mm bezel down to a 43mm bezel. Some of the benefits of that is that we're saying to the female demographic, come and chuck a watch on your wrist that doesn't look like a sundial. It actually looks fantastic on a female wrist as well, where before the watches are too bulky and cumbersome. So that covers that part of it. But also from an male perspective, it means that they've got now a fine watch finish as opposed to the bulky tanks that they've been accustomed to wearing over the past few years.
So running power is one of the features I believe we're going to see here with the Suunto Peak Pro.
Yeah.
Now, it's interesting metric, I guess, running power. Everyone's kind of got a slightly different algorithm. What's your version of running power?
Well, from an algorithm perspective, I need to get one of the product guys to answer that one for you, my friend, because one of the things that we focus on at Suunto is the quality of the output. And so for a technical question like that, I'd once again, I'd get one of our product guys.
Yep.
I can organise an interview for you if I speak to someone specifically about that, because you're right, it is a balance of the algorithm, it's a balance of even the gradients that you run it has an impact on that as well. But mate, I'd rather park my answer for that and get someone who's more proficient from a technical basis.
Well, obviously though, it's a added feature that the consumers want.
Yes. Well, every feature we bring to the watch is based on market research, so we take it very, very seriously. We undertook some research recently, got about 14,000 responses in terms of what consumers want to see on the Suunto products, and that was one of the big hits that we got, was they wanted that feature to be added to the watch in a focus piece. So we made sure that we brought that to life within the body of the watch itself in terms of the offering. But once again, to get down to the specific technical creation of that algorithm space, I'd rather have a technical guy answer that for you.
No worries, mate. Well, what we do know is it is obviously a faster processor. It's a faster watch.
Yep.
There's also been some improvements to the operating system and the user interface, I guess you could say. With the third-party app support, how is there going to be any delay with many of the most popular third-party apps in terms of upgrading it to the spec of this new SKU with the watches, or is it going to be okay out of the gate?
No, it's seamless. So we build a lot of the integration in terms of the chips in that, and in partnership with our other app partners. So we've got over 200 app partners on our platform presently. There's literally about 700 waiting in the wings to get onto our platform. So therefore, the robustness of how we manage that seamlessly is very, very important, not just to us as a brand, but also to the Suunto wearers that actually love our tech. I love the fact that it does dovetail so nicely into other apps like Strava, which of course is probably the main app that everybody talks about.
And how many of the features we're seeing in this particular watch do you think might filter through some of the other Suunto watch range?
That's a great question. So when we look at, I suppose, our responsibility as a brand in the marketplace, one of the things that we really focus on is firmware updates. So when you look at sustainability, per se, we're the most sustainable brand in the world in terms of the sports watch space, because we manufacture using wind power. But beyond that piece, how do we stay true to the sustainability piece? It's all about the firmware upgrades and making sure that there is a path for all the new feature sets that do come in. So as it becomes on trend, using a more powerful chipset, it means that we can dovetail the tech into the future iterations that come to market. For example, the active look wear. So if you want to then utilize your Suunto watch with an active look wear provider and then have your data coming up on the lens there, you would need our latest Suunto 9 Peak Pro to do that for you. And when we add further iterations to that, it means that the tech we've got built into it will then dovetail nicely into the future iterations that come to market. So we're really focused on how we can sort of future-proof our product in terms of the expected software update requirements from the marketplace.
Yeah, I mean, one of the parts of that, I guess, could be mapping. And I believe that there is space, and I know this is a technical question again, but there's a bit of free RAM allocation available with this particular watch that could be used for big upgrades in the future, such as mapping. Is that something that we might see come to this particular, the 9 Peak Pro?
Well, mapping is one of the reasons why people love our products as much as they do. So when I think about some of the updated or upgraded mapping you get in the 9 Peak Pro, you're now able to track the surface of the road. So before you go out to go for a run, you might decide if you want to be off-road or on-road. You can now use our app and then determine on the route you want to take whether you want it to be on-road or off-road, which is great for if you're running as well as if you're cycling. And we've also got avalanche mapping as well. So using our app, you can then work out where you'd like to snowboard and ski, and then from there make a determination on your actual route that you want to take. And yes, there is space allocated for future iterations that we want to bring to that, like 3D mapping, which is now available in our products today.
And you mentioned sustainability. You mentioned wind power beforehand. That was really interesting. I thought you brought that up earlier when we were having a chat. How are you finding that the consumer demand for sustainable products is increasing? And obviously, it's great from a company perspective. Like I absolutely think it's amazing that you guys have done that. And are you finding there's consumer thirst for that as well?
There's so much marketing from across the country, not just in the sports watch category, but across many categories, where people talking about climate change and being responsible citizens in terms of what they can do. for example, when they remove plastic from retail stores when you go to the grocery shopping, well, that's now a big focus from a corporate perspective on when they look at the products they bring to the market, what is the sustainability plan of those brands? And Suunto is very focused on sustainability. It's one of the key areas that we differentiate from every other supplier of sports watches in the world, because we do manufacture our sports watches in Finland using 100% wind power, and no one else can state that. We're also focused on supply chain, so how do we create more efficiencies in relation to sustainability and the packaging of the product, and making sure that we've got repair agents and also a powerful firmware updates by using a stronger chipset. And so from that perspective, I think we're well positioned for success in the future and making sure that we're meeting a sustainability from consumers.
And I also want to talk about consumer demand on certain features. It's not something that we're seeing a lot of your competitors do, but there are some people out there looking at TGA approval for some of their fitness tracking. Is that something that you guys have looked into here in Australia to get that kind of tick of approval from the health side of things for any of the features that you offer in terms of the fitness and wellness tracking?
Well, it's a great question. I think one of the key things to note is we look at the international standard on a lot of the things that we bring into our watches before we bring it to market. We're also very aware there's a lot of localization requests and requirements, and we need to do it from a regulatory perspective. Of course, we do it. Whether it's a feature set that we think is really resonating with people, then of course we make it a priority. Do we specifically look at any specific request? It all comes down to a volume piece. If we get a number of requests for a specific request, then of course it becomes more important for us to make sure it's part of the future iteration.
Right, so at this point in time, though, no plans at the moment to look at any TGA approval?
From an approval perspective, that comes from our product team.
Yeah.
So again, it falls under the realm of technical questions that I have to ask our product guys. At a local level, they prepare it for us when we bring it to market.
Yeah.
So we take the finished product into market, they manage that whole piece from back end.
All right, no worries, mate. And one final question. You mentioned before that Suunto is looking at having quite a big 2023.
Yeah.
Potentially 4 or 5 new products coming out. Is there anything that you can tip us off to for what we might be able to expect next year from you guys?
That is a loaded question. Well, what can I touch on? I can say that we're going to take things to another level in terms of sustainability and looking at ways that we can introduce other key feature sets that people are looking for in watches. There's some areas in the world in which we're already dominant, which we're already number one in. I think you're going to see that brought more to the front of our watches in 2023. Without giving too much away, because I think I'll leave it at that for now.
All right, no worries, mate. I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much, and congratulations on the launch of the watch.
Cheers, Chris. Thank you for your time.